Yeah, yeah. Ball so hard, you better believe me, it's scary. It's basketball at the bar with Calvin and Barry. So put a tip in the jar, cause these dudes can really fill it up. Whether it's buckets you need or just a beer in a cup. We're here for fresh conversations and some delicious libations. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. My boys got you covered like you being guarded by Peyton. From the glove to the claw and everyone else in between. Calvin and Barry got everything that you need. So sit back, relax, because we're starting the show. It's basketball at the bar. Grab your drinks and let's go. Yeah. Grab a drink and let's go. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification. Calvin and Barry. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification. Let's get it.
What up, ballers? Welcome to Basketball at the Bar. Join us live every weekday for the best NBA podcast here on YouTube, where the takes are hot and the drinks are cold. There's no dress code, and you can take us wherever you go. So pull up a stool, drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe. This is Basketball at the Bar. Grab your drinks, and let's go. Calvin, it's Thursday.
It's finals day.
It is finals day. It's a good Thursday here. So we're enjoying it, and as you mentioned, yes, it is the very first day of the NBA Finals. Extremely exciting day for us here at Basketball at the Bar. I hope you guys are all excited. Shout out to everybody that's watching. We appreciate you all. We have a busy schedule today. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. We're going to talk about some injury concerns. We're going to talk about our favorite finals moments. We're going to talk about some betting odds that we like. 3 players returning to Gonzaga, withdrawing from the NBA draft yesterday. Lebron is officially a billionaire, what that means for the NBA and other players like him. There might be a new owner for the Portland Trail Blazers soon, and we're going to talk about the New York Knicks coaching staff, followed up by Q&A. So we have a lot of stuff to go over today. Make sure you guys stay tuned, and also please don't forget to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. Calvin and I will be putting out a ton of content this summer on drafts, on rebuilds, on free agency, NBA 2K stuff. A lot of good basketball content. So, as they say, Calvin, basketball never stops.
Never.
And neither do we. All right, before we jump into anything you want to mention about today so far?
Just couple quick injury updates. Gary Payton II, Andre Iguodala, and Otto Porter Jr. all full participants in practice yesterday, including scrimmaging. According to Steve Kerr, they're still all listed as questionable for Game 1. I think Porter Jr. probably has the best odds to play out of all 3 of these guys, but we will see. We're still 3 hours away from tip-off. So they're definitely trending in the right direction. They're being a little, as you would imagine, coy with how close exactly these guys are. Andre Iguodala actually had some very interesting comments. If you read between the lines, it sounds like maybe he won't play at all in the series. It's kind of interesting, but
yeah.
We shall see.
I mean, according to ESPN here, Iguodala and Gary Payton are both listed as out. But we talked about that yesterday too, right? And you're like, in the notes it says day-to-day, but the designation is out. Mm-hmm. There's some funny business going on here. But, yeah, it's quite unfortunate for Andre Iguodala if he is not able to play. I know this is the moment that people save themselves for, right? This entire season it's all worth it if you get to play here in the finals. He could potentially win a ring here, which I know he would love, but he definitely wants to get on the court. So we will see what happens there. Golden State is still favored by 3.5 in this game. It's going to be a really exciting, fun game to watch. I know you and I might be heading to a local brewery after this to go watch the game. That should be a lot of fun. And then I see here, Game 1 posts the highest average ticket price in Chase Center history. Wow. $873.
Average ticket price. That's the average ticket price for any seat in the building is $873 for Game 1. Highest average ticket price for any event since the Chase Center opened in 2019. To put that in comparison, Metallica played a concert at the Chase Center recently. The average ticket price for that show was $572. So this is $300 more per head.
And this is basically the first year the Warriors are in the playoffs and in the finals, right?
Yes.
Since the new Chase
Yeah.
Center has been built. I know that number seems high, but I'm looking at that and I'm like, this number seems a little low for me. If that's the average ticket price, that means there's tickets selling for probably $200, $300, $400 to average out the people that are spending tens of thousands of dollars on tickets. I'm surprised that this is not the minimum ticket price because there's a lot of wealthy people in the Bay Area.
That's true.
And this is the Warriors' first chance
I wouldn't
back.
want to pay $200 to sit where that seat was going to get me, though. That's for sure. I'd rather watch it at a local bar.
Very,
like
very,
you
very
said.
true. And on that point, that kind of, maybe dictates a cap of what the lowest ticket price actually could be, right? Because if you're a tech entrepreneur or somebody that's rolling up in your Benz or your Audi, are you sitting in the nosebleeds?
Nope.
Probably not. So yeah, that is quite interesting there. I was watching SportsCenter today, and it was actually, I think, on Jalen Jacoby. They were talking about it. It's a quote from Draymond Green, and he says, "No one has ever beaten us whole." He goes back to the time they lost to the Cavaliers, and he's like, well, I was suspended in, I think it was game 5.
Yep.
Then he talks about, their loss to the Raptors, and KD gets injured. Klay Thompson's injured.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on this statement?
It's not something that I would say before the series started. That's just me personally. Draymond Green is obviously a different personality than I am, and they've done it in the past, so why not? They're kind of flexing their experience muscle here right now, right, on against a team that has absolutely zero NBA final game experiences on their roster. So, I'm not surprised to hear Draymond say it. I do think it's not exactly true. Yes, he was suspended for game 5 of that series, but he played after that.
And that's his
fault. And
fault.
they still lost. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not really buying this. What's up, Key Kings? Good to see you in the chat. I'm not really buying this at all because the game he was suspended, Kevin Love was out with a concussion because Draymond Green elbowed him in the head. So Cleveland wasn't whole either. But I get what he's trying to do here, but I'm not buying it at all. And I feel that, like, any team in the NBA could say this. No one has ever beaten us whole because the Warriors' first championship, what was it? Love had his elbow injured or dislocated or shoulder due to, what is that, Kelly Olynyk?
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving had the busted kneecap. Then you just look at all these teams that the Warriors built to make it to the finals, beat to make it to the finals. You got, Chris Paul was injured in there. You have a Harden injury. You have the injury to Kawhi Leonard when he gets stepped under by Zaza. Injuries are part of the game. And if you make it to the finals and your team is 100% healthy, like, that's very rare.
That's true.
Very rare.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to go by as black and white as you can make this, Jordan and Pippen are really the only people that can ever legitimately say that, right?
Yeah.
6-0.
Maybe Bill Russell.
No loss. Bill Russell lost.
Yeah. But
he lost to the Warriors
whole?
the last
Was his
time.
team
Yes,
whole?
absolutely they were.
Okay. Yeah, it's an interesting statement because injuries are part of the game. But Draymond Green doing his thing, I guess, huh?
It's a very Draymond Green thing to say. No one is surprised by that.
Oh, man. I'm looking here at favorite finals moments ever. Are there any that pop into your head? Because I have a lot.
Yes. There are a ton, and the more you think about it, the more it will come to you. But the very first two that immediately come to my mind are the LeBron block in Game 7.
Definitely.
And Jordan's what was supposed to be the last jump shot he ever made in Game 6 in Utah to clinch his 6th NBA championship. Those two moments, to me, I will never, ever forget as long as I live.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good finals moments, and a lot of these moments even come after the game's already done. Like, just looking at LeBron winning his first championship in Miami and the way he was looking at the trophy, D-Wade jumping up on the announcer's table and celebrating, the block that you mentioned, the chase down, that was an amazing play, and the Kyrie Irving 3 after that. There's a lot of good finals moments here. It's really hard to pick one, but if I had to, it would probably be that chase down block. Is my favorite so far.
Yeah.
Amazing
just an
play.
Incredible play.
Amazing play.
Such an incredible play.
And you just watch that thing over and over again, and you're like, okay, LeBron was over here.
Yeah, that's the thing is it's more amazing to watch it from the tail end of the Golden State possession. Like, just the block itself is great, but to see him cover 94 feet, the speed that he did, man, that was incredible play.
And this was Game 7.
Yeah.
Like, literally the last game of the season that you could ever play in the final minutes of the game. Yep. And LeBron had enough energy to chase this guy down full court and block. And the timing is just incredible. Great play. Great play.
Yeah, that may have been the last time that we ever saw LeBron at his peak ability, both offense and defense, right? After that, he's still a great defender even today, but he can't give the maximum effort anymore like that.
Oh no, he's getting older and he's got to do so much, which is really tough. But a lot of good final moments, that's for sure. Key King says, if Steph wins the chip and Finals MVP, is Steph in your guys' top 10 all time? I'm gonna let you answer this again, Cal.
We keep getting this question. I'm not sure. I think he was already close to being in my top 10 before this. So I really have to sit down and think about what my top 10 is, I guess, first and foremost.
Yeah. What's up, Jay Drew? Good to see you here. Yeah, that's really tough for me too. We've been talking about the last week and how championships, they have a weight on how great you are, but the weight is maybe not as great as people think it is because it's a team award. Yeah. Finals MVP, I'm kind of mixed, right? Because it's an individual award on top of a team award. Like, your team has to be great enough to win the championship for you to win Finals MVP. We saw just a few years ago, LeBron James led his team in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, lost in the finals, didn't win Finals MVP. So it's Finals MVP is a little less of an individual award than you'd really think, right? It's individual performance in a short amount of time, but your team has to be great enough to kind of bring you over that hump.
Yeah, I'm more like a top 10 list is so hard to make. I much more stick to top 5. Like, I think it's much easier to list a top 5 than it is to list a top 10.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I want to hear from you guys. Is Steph Curry in your top 10 all time? I know many people.
Steph is not in my top 5. I will say that.
I know many people that Steph is already in their top 10, no matter what happens here. Calvin and I were talking about it like 2 days ago, how hard it is to rank Steph Curry in terms of all-time greats, because yes, he changed the game. Yes, he's the best shooter of all time. I think he's one of the best ball handlers of all time. But as far as like a lot of the other aspects of his game, yes, he's good at a lot of things, but he is limited in some aspects. Some of it's due to his size and physical abilities. But, you're ranking this guy against people that were literally superhuman, that could dunk from the free throw line, that could just, dominate inside like a guy like Shaq, that have been such huge physical specimens that have physically dominated, mentally dominated, and skill-wise dominated. Curry's done 2 of those for me. But, basketball will always be a game of size, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's one thing that hurts him. Like, straight up.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the key Kings, right? Like, there's so many good players. Once you get farther and farther away from, a top 5 or a top 6, 7, there are so many guys that I think you could equally say deserve to be 8, 9, 10, 11, all that stuff. So
yeah. And back what I was saying about Shaq, like, how do you even compare Shaq to Steph? Like, I don't even know how to start that comparison.
There is no comparison.
You're like, okay.
There's no comparison for
Steph's
anyone to Shaq,
a better free
much.
throw shooter. Steph's a better three-point shooter.
Yeah.
Shaq's got a better field goal percentage. Shaq wins in rebounds, blocks. they're about to have the same number of championships here if they win this year. But it's just so hard.
The big difference for me between Shaq and almost any player that I would put in the top 5 is Shaq is so unique and so just specialized in his ability. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to actual basketball skill and basketball talent, he was one of the most athletic big men ever. He has skill, but when it comes to what you do on a basketball court, ball handling, passing, shooting, so much of that stuff was not in Shaq's game. Yep. So in terms of just pure basketball ability, I would actually put a lot of players ahead of him. Mm-hmm. He's just such a unique, unstoppable force that nobody has ever seen, and he put up insane numbers because of those physical gifts, right?
Yeah, and that's what makes it so hard. It really is. All right, we're going to talk about the finals here a little bit more, but before we do that, I just kind of want to jump into some of these other subjects. Calvin's got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so I'm excited for it. Let's talk a little bit about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. I keep saying it over and over and over again, and I'm going to say it again. This Celtics team was below 500 in January. You and I talked about, maybe not on this show, but on Royal Rebounds, we talked about maybe it's time to move on from one of these guys. I think we both were like, Jason Tatum is by far the better player. If you're going to move somebody, you should move Jaylen Brown, bring in some more pieces, maybe guys that fit better next to Jason Tatum. They proved us wrong. They proved a lot of people wrong. Now they're in the NBA Finals. We're seeing a new duo here, Tatum and Brown. What's their ceiling, Calvin? What do you expect from these guys, not only this NBA Finals, but in years to come?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I think maybe people are forgetting that these guys already had a lot of success in the postseason before this year, and they're still both very, very young. Yes, they had the rough start this year, and it maybe had been a couple years. I think they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last in 2018. So they had, kind of dropped off a little bit since that moment, and people were wondering, like you said, is it going to work long term? These guys are incredible. I think it's still very early, and this is their first finals, but I think we could be witnessing the creation of one of the all-time great duos before our very eyes.
Wow.
Like, to me, I'm not saying that they're Jordan and Pippen. That's not what I'm saying here. But in terms of duos that play those two positions that have similar skill sets, this might be the closest thing we've seen since that. They're going to continue to get better, and these are just coincidental stats. It has nothing. You can't really take anything from this, but I think it's still interesting. Jordan and Pippen in their first 11 playoff series together. This finals is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's 12th playoff series together. Mm-hmm. When they're healthy together. In Jordan and Pippen's first 11 playoff series, they went 8-3. Mm-hmm. Brown and Tatum also 8-3. Yep. 1991, Jordan and Pippen win their first NBA championship in their 12th playoff series. This is Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown's 12th playoff series. They're in the NBA Finals. So again, those are just total coincidences. It's nothing.
Is it?
Maybe it's something more. But no, I really think that these guys, what is the ceiling for them? The ceiling is the sky, or what did Jordan say? The floor is the ceiling, or something like that. Something stupid. I think they have all the potential in the world. Like, this could be the catalyst, this NBA Finals appearance, whether they win or lose. That means that these two guys are in conversation for the NBA championship every single year for a long, long time. They've really impressed me. I think Tatum, we've talked about it a bunch in this postseason. He, to me, is working himself into being the face of the league. Yep. I think he's an incredible player. So this could be the start of a really big run here.
Yeah, I hear everything you're saying, and these guys do seem to complement each other very nice. If I'm just going to play devil's advocate here and kind of look at it from the other side, Is there anything that could happen in this year's NBA Finals where if you're the Celtics, you might think about splitting up this duo?
Oh, not anymore. I think those thoughts are so long gone at this point. Yeah, I would ask anybody to give me a reason right now that you'd want to split them up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're two highly drafted players by the Celtics that have established themselves. They've grown together, and they're playing really well together. But, you know, as great as they are, I got to say that a lot of their success comes from other guys as well, like Marcus Smart.
Of course.
Robert
it's a team
Williams.
game.
Yeah. So for me, I'm looking more at like a big three of Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. I think that those are your three main guys. And I think that they kind of all complement each other great. You know, they've played together for so much time. And that's one thing that's really, rare these days is to have a young duo like this that's actually been able to play together for a certain amount of years. Like you mentioned, they played in 12. This will be their 12th playoff series together. That's a lot of time to kind of grow together, to figure out everybody's game, and then go back each offseason and say, okay, I'm Marcus Smart. I need to improve my three-point percentage to help these other two guys out. Or I need to do this to put Jaylen Brown in a better position. Or this helps Jason Tatum get open. And, you know, it's great coaching. It's culture. It's team. I think they've done a wonderful job. But I think the sky's the limit for these two, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you think Jaylen Brown will ever be a better player than Jason Tatum?
Ooh.
Because, and the reason I say that is, you know, everybody likes to just say Jordan's the best of all time, right? Like that's an easy, clickbaity, common thing is Jordan's the greatest. Jordan's the greatest. No one really talks about Scottie Pippen in the greatest of all time conversation, right? But if you were to remove Jordan, maybe not like entirely, because yes, he only won championships with Jordan and that helped a lot, but Jordan didn't win any championships without Scottie as well. But if you were just to look at Scottie's game, the things that he can do, his stats, all that stuff together, like this dude could be considered one of the greatest players of all time, potentially top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think he is considered one of the greatest players of all time.
yeah, but nobody really says that. You know, you never really hear about him in the GOAT debate. Never.
GOAT debate, no.
And
I think when you play next to the guy that's considered the GOAT, right?
Like, exactly. So
how do you get any votes?
So kind of what I'm getting at here is, will Jaylen Brown always be in Jason Tatum's shadow, or could Jaylen Brown end up being the better player out of this tandem?
Well, it's definitely possible. Like, I don't think that will happen ultimately, but it's 1A and 1B, you know, just like Jordan and Pippen, they needed each other. They both complemented each other so well. The fact that they were both the two best lockdown defenders the NBA had ever seen at that time on the same team, and they could both score, like that's what made them so great. And Brown and Tatum, I think you can say a lot of the same things about them. They maybe haven't reached the same level defensively that Jordan and Pippen were on, but they have the ability, and they're on the right path right now. They just this season finished, with the best team defense in the NBA, and we've seen individually these guys play phenomenal. Tatum's defense in this postseason has really blown me away with his ability to shut down Kevin Durant in the opening series. I agree here with this comment that right now Brown is very careless with the basketball at times. His biggest Achilles heel is this stretch where he goes 2-3 turnovers in a row. Doesn't quite have the ball handling skills maybe that Tatum does. They're both phenomenal scorers, phenomenal shooters. So to me, it's just a good problem to have for Boston, right? Like if Brown actually does become a better player than Jason Tatum, that you can't ask for a better scenario than that, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, if you were to rank this tandem as far as like tandems currently in the NBA? Are they number one for you? Is there a better tandem that's currently in the NBA? And that's a tough question, right? Because there's a lot of threes. But
there are
if
a lot
you were
of
to look
threes.
at like Giannis and Middleton, or LeBron and AD, Kawhi and Paul George, trying to think of some of these other tandems like Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe Bam and Jimmy.
Yeah, well, it's harder when you start throwing in the guard and center duos, right? Because it doesn't really match. Like, I'm taking the skill level of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum over any guard-center combination that you can come up with. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George is an interesting one, right? Because we just haven't seen Kawhi lately. And the last time we saw him, he was arguably the best two-way player in the game. So that's the one to me that could maybe sway things a little bit. But in terms of future success, I don't see anybody coming close to what the potential that Tatum and Brown have.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the potential's there, and that's the greatest thing about this combo, right, is they're this good right now, and they have the potential as well, which is very hard to find in the NBA, and they're both locked up long-term for the Boston Celtics. So good news for Boston's fans, that's for sure. All right. It looks like Relaxation wants to jump here into our Bet Us prop bets for the NBA Finals. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Real quick, we're going to remind you all that we are sponsored by Bet Us. So if you guys want to bet with us, go ahead and click on the link in the description down below, Bet Us. If you deposit $50, you get 125% bonus on top of that. And you can bet on all things NBA. You can bet horse racing, football, hockey, all these interesting things. But right now we're talking about the NBA Finals. So, Calvin, Warriors are favored by 3.5 in this. Who are you taking tonight?
I like the Warriors to win game one. The spread is fine with me. I think that the rest is definitely going to help Golden State. They're at home. Steph and Klay, I think, will come out hot from the beginning. And I would take the Warriors to win minus 3.5, and I'd take the over in this game as well.
Okay. And I believe the over currently is, what is it here? 214.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet there. What about first basket scored?
This one is such a crapshoot, literally, right? I mean, if you just look at the odds, the lowest possible odds for this is Jaylen Brown at plus 400.
Wow.
You have a pretty good chance to make a decent amount of money no matter what here. Part of me wants to go like Draymond Green is plus 1,500. That's wild,
it's
right?
Very possible.
But any of these guys, but if I had to legitimately put down a bet, I would go Klay Thompson, and he's plus 600.
Okay.
So seems like a pretty good bet to me.
What's Curry at?
Curry is also plus 600.
Okay.
And Tatum is plus 600 as well.
I think I'm going Curry, but I do like your Draymond Green pick. I
swing for the fences.
I might do
Kevon Looney.
I might
is
do
also plus
$50 on Draymond and $50 on Steph Curry because I think the Warriors are going to score the first points in this game, and I think the place is going to absolutely erupt.
Yeah.
There's been many fans waiting for this moment. They have their new arena. I remember there were all the quotes saying that this new arena is literally printing money, and then all of a sudden there's a virus on the loose and shuts everything down, not to mention the injuries to Klay Thompson, the losing of Kevin Durant, stuff like that. So this is really their first time to make some money here at this new arena. It shows in the average ticket price of $873.
And I could totally see, the Warriors are such this unselfish superstar team, right? So I could totally see if they get the opportunity to score first, they're going to want Klay to take that shot, right? You worked so hard to get back here. We made it to the finals. Klay, take us to the promised land. Hit that first three.
Yeah. That's a good point. You have any other favorite prop bets or player bets from this game or this series?
There's a couple things. So again, I'm kind of looking at stuff where you can really maximize your winnings here. I think Curry's going to come out hot in this this first game right from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's talking about, Finals MVP is the last thing that he needs to cement the legacy and all this stuff. So it will be really tough for him against the tough Boston defense, but he's plus 1,600 right now for 12 or more points and 3 or more assists in the first quarter.
Wow.
That's a really good quarter, but again, if anybody can come out and knock down 3 threes really quickly, it's Steph Curry.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that bet. I also like...
We got Ethan here in the chat, so
here we go.
Tell him all the alpha now. Ethan, go to the description down below, click on the link, sign up, deposit $50. Calvin's going to give you all the tips right now, so you don't have to ask us later.
So I really like that for the game. There are a couple bets for the entire series that I think are really reasonable too. Marcus Smart plus 280 to have 1 or more steal in every game, I think is a pretty reasonable bet to make. I also like, I was torn on this one, Kevon Looney or Al Horford to average 10 rebounds a game for the series. I think either one is actually a reasonable bet, and both of them are sitting at, where are we here? Both of those bets are plus 380 right now.
Okay.
Pretty reasonable, I would say. I also like it's plus 225 for any player to record a triple-double at any point in the series.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like that bet
There
a
you
lot.
go,
I
Ethan.
think Draymond will sneak in some game here where he has like 11 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists or something like that.
I mean, we could even see Al Horford potentially have a game like that as well. Not many guys in this series that post triple-doubles or close to it other than those two guys. But it might be worth it. I mean, it could be a long series, and I definitely think it's going to take Draymond Green having a triple-double for the Warriors to win, and it's probably going to take Al Horford to have a triple-double in one of these games to win. So definitely good bets there. As always, none of this is financial advice. We're just degenerate gamblers like you all are as well, and we're just having fun. So those are our picks. Any last ones before we move on?
I mean, there's a bunch of them that are pretty wild in here. It's just crazy to me, the stuff that you can actually bet on.
Too bad there's not a coin flip before every game, right?
Right? You can, for example, you can bet on what the distance of the longest shot made will be in the finals and who that person will be. As you can imagine, Steph Curry is the favorite, minus 200.
Over 40 feet?
Yeah. Total shots made from 35 plus feet.
Okay. Wow. I like
what
that.
What do you think?
I'm going to say, is this for a game or the whole series?
For the whole series.
Oh, wow. I'm going to go 8.
8?
Yeah.
35 feet or more?
Yeah.
Holy cow. So 3 or more right now is plus 5,000.
Yeah. Let's go 8.
I don't even think you can make that bet.
All right, let's go 3. 3 plus.
3 is, I'll say 1, which is plus 200 right now.
Okay. We'll have to keep an eye on those.
8. My goodness.
What about blue or orange Gatorade that Steph Curry drinks is what Ethan says.
Neither. Yellow.
I think maybe blue because that's closer to Warriors colors. So I'll go with that. But yeah, as Calvin said, all these bets are crapshoots. So good luck. Don't sue us. Have fun. Let us know if you win. Don't let us know if you lose. All right. In other news, as we mentioned, yesterday was the last day for college players to withdraw from the NBA draft and retain their draft eligibility, their NCAA eligibility for next season. Gonzaga's had 3 players withdraw: Drew Timme, Julian Strother, and Razir Bolton. I probably butchered a couple of those names. But interesting, I was watching ESPN this morning, and they were just talking about it gives these guys a good option to improve their draft stock going into next season, stuff like that. What are your thoughts on these moves?
It makes sense. These guys are all listening to agents and parents, but it's really all about money, right? Like,
yep.
If one person says that you're projected to be a lottery pick, it doesn't matter anymore. These guys are going.
Yeah.
There's too much money that is on the table there. For these 3 players in particular, none of them are projected to be lottery picks. So Why not come back and make another run at an NCAA championship?
And on top of that, they can actually make money in the
Can
NCAA now, right? So it's kind of a little less
In
of
a lot of cases they
pull.
can make more money.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, a little bit less of that pull of like, hey, we got bills to pay. I want to buy my mom a new house. Like, I'm declaring, I don't care as long as I'm drafted, right? And now players, which is probably better, because now players are like, okay, I can kind of value my education plus how much I'm making here. And I still have potential to make the NBA in the future, bearing a huge setback, an injury, something like that. So more options are always better. So happy to see these guys taking their careers and their lives, taking control of it themselves. And hopefully they all improve their draft stock and are able to make it in next year's NBA draft and get drafted. Do you think that will reduce the one and done in colleges? I do. I do think it will. I think he's talking about being paid.
What exactly reduce?
Being paid.
I don't think that reduces it.
Really?
At all. No.
Not at all?
No.
Okay.
Because the guys who are one and done, they're going to make the same money in the NBA that they're making in college. So why there's still no incentive to me.
I'm just saying
it just bridges the gap. Like
there's got to be some players that need to.
The incentive is going to college instead of going to one of these other leagues, like we saw LaMelo go to New Zealand or Australia to play for a year instead of going to college.
Lithuania or something?
I think he was there too, but he was more recently in the NBL. So the incentive is to get all the top players in the country to play in college, but I don't think it changes the length of time that they play in college. If you're a top 10 pick, you're going to be done after a year.
I agree with you, but I feel like there are some guys that it will make a difference. Like if you're projected to be pick number 25 or something like that, and you're like, okay, well, I can stay in college and still make money and maybe be pick 20 or pick 15 next year. I think it could help.
Yeah. Yes, I think you're right. But and for most of the one and done guys, that they're the top, the cream of the crop, and
they know they're only going for 1 year.
Ethan's right here. You can make $1 to $2 million a year in college now, but the number one pick in the NBA draft, that's like $10 million a year. So there's still no. It doesn't help enough. To stop one and dones.
It will have, I think, somewhat of an impact on, like I said, the lower guys. But there are a huge amount of guys that are they're in high school and they know I'm only going to the NBA for 1 year. College for 1 year, and then I'm going straight to the NBA. And it doesn't matter. None of this is going to make a difference because they already chose their path before they even signed with a team. And a lot of guys like Calipari, he's probably making promises to these players where it's like, before you even sign on the dotted line to come to my school, you're going to the NBA next year. That's part of the plan already. So unless there's like a huge injury or something, that sets them back. And a lot of these guys, you look at Kyrie Irving, injured, didn't even matter.
Right.
And
this
Zion,
is a much bigger deal for, like you were talking about, the next group of players or even athletes that play sports that don't have the money flowing into them like basketball and college basketball and college football do. Now that you can make a few thousand or even higher than that, 100,000 maybe dollars a year playing one of those lesser sports in terms of college financial, money flowing into these sports. That's where this deal really makes a big difference for people, because now these guys can afford to go to school and not leave with a ton of student loan debt and all that stuff.
I do think it will have an impact on players we see going to the G League, right? Because that's kind of become an alternate route for a lot of guys where it's like, college is not for me. I need to make some money, but I'm not ready for the NBA yet. I'm going to go play in the G League for a year and then go to the NBA. Could kind of sway some of those guys to maybe go to college instead.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Big news. It's official. LeBron has achieved one of his lifelong goals, and that is to become a billionaire. LeBron's net worth is officially over $1 billion. I remember hearing about this maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago, where LeBron said it was a goal of his to become a billionaire. He wanted to own a team. He wanted to be the first athlete billionaire, which there are plenty by now. Kobe Bryant was there. Michael Jordan's there. He signed like a huge deal with Nike that was like over $200 million. And then he signed a lifetime contract with Nike. I'm talking about LeBron here. But he's officially a billionaire. Calvin, he's the only current billionaire playing in the NBA. What does this mean for him? What does this mean for the league? And what does this mean for people that want to be him?
Wow, those are all really tough questions to answer. Well, what does it mean for him is probably pretty simple. Like you said, he accomplished one of his life goals, and that's pretty amazing. To think of where this guy came from, and all the things that he had to deal with growing up, and not having a lot of money to now be able to call yourself a billionaire is pretty cool. What does it mean for the league? I'm not really sure, actually. I mean, it doesn't hurt the league, obviously, but a lot of this money that is now worth didn't come from basketball. Yeah. It came from other things.
And don't forget, this guy spends $1 million a year on his body.
Yeah, so, and, what does it mean for future guys in the NBA? It's just another goal that they can see as achievable now, right? Yeah. It's just another step forward for everybody that comes after him. There's Joyner Lucas has a song called Ye's Not Crazy. And the whole thing is about Kanye West. And there's a lyric in that song that says something like, never thought I'd be a billionaire, but now maybe I can. And he's referring to Kanye. You know? So, obviously, guys look up to people at the top of the list. And when somebody makes shout out. That guy is a beast. I love Joyner Lucas. But when somebody achieves a goal like this, it means that everybody, who's next in line now thinks that they can do the same thing, which is good.
And you can be crazy and be a billionaire at the same time. Those are not mutually exclusive things, as we've seen with Kanye. But, for me, this has a bigger impact on the league than anything else, in my opinion. And that's just LeBron achieved one goal to be a billionaire. I'm looking at his next goal, and he said that's to own an NBA team. So how long is that going to be before LeBron owns a team? I'm not quite sure. We just saw D-Wade jump into ownership with the Minnesota Timberwolves. We do have Jordan and Charlotte.
Utah Jazz. Isn't he a part owner of the Utah Jazz?
Oh, sorry. Yes, Utah Jazz. I don't know. I was thinking Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't know. Anyways, Utah Jazz. And so I think LeBron is getting closer to that step. Obviously, you can't own a team while you're in the NBA, or at least I don't think you can. That would seem to be...
I think that we call that tampering at its finest.
Yeah, a little mixture there. But we did see MJ be the GM and a player on a team, which was quite interesting. And we haven't seen that since Bill Russell, right, with the Boston Celtics, GM, coach, player. Yep. So we'll see how many years LeBron has left. I think he's, 38 in December this year. And he's definitely going to own an NBA team. For me, the question is which one. I know a lot of people are thinking Cleveland, but does Dan Gilbert want to sell the team to him? I don't know.
Everybody's got a price, probably.
Maybe. I mean, if you're watching, I keep talking about it, but the Showtime Lakers show, Winning Time, Jerry Buss didn't have a price. That team was his legacy. That team was everything for him. It didn't matter if someone offered him all the money in the world. He wasn't going to sell the Lakers. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens. But if he does buy the Cavs, it will be incredible for sure. Just get Elon to offer $44 billion. Yeah, Dab, I mean, I feel you. Shout out to you.
Every NBA team is worth more than $1 billion.
But, just because the team's worth $1 billion doesn't mean you can't afford it. We see people now that their net worth is $100,000 and they're buying, a $500,000 house or $1 million house. There's leverage. There's other ways. There's partners. Vivek owns the Kings. He's not the majority owner of the Kings. He's just the managing partner. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Jordan definitely got in at the right time. That's for sure.
Yeah. But a lot of guys got in at a better time than Jordan.
Yeah, I'm just saying players.
If you're looking at return on your investment. Yeah.
Yeah, player-wise. It's It's interesting, but shout out to LeBron. Keep doing things. The dude has been under the spotlight forever, and he's made a lot of good moves. I think there's only a few things that people could really legitimately point at and say, that was not the best move. But, like, the dude hasn't really screwed up. He doesn't have, like, scandals. He's not
Squeaky
in
clean.
trouble with the law or anything like that. Great role model. Money is not the most important thing in the world, but this definitely shows that LeBron knows what he's doing, and he's basically got to this point by empowering the people around him. Rich, one of his childhood friends, he believed in him, created a sports agency with him. So it's more of a story about him and the people around him than just him. So it's pretty awesome. Losing to the Mavs in the finals. Shout out to Dirk. Yeah, I don't know if that was LeBron's choice. I don't know if you can consider that a bad move, but I was more referring to the way people didn't like how he left Cleveland and all this stuff and maybe even going to the Lakers. But all right, let's move on, Calvin. Let's talk about Phil Knight. You got some news here?
Yeah, we're talking about NBA teams selling and guys who could potentially buy them. Phil Knight, along with one of the part owners of the Los Angeles Dodgers, have officially put in a $2 billion offer sheet to buy the Portland Trailblazers. Wow. It remains to be seen whether that will be accepted, but Twitter, every Portland Trailblazers fan is all in right now on Phil Knight buying this team. They really, really want that sale to go through. So, of course, he's an Oregon guy. He's pumped a ton of money into the University of Oregon athletic department over the years. So the thought is maybe he will do the same to the Portland Trailblazers.
All I know is if he buys that team, those jerseys are going to be dope. Right. That's all I know. I'm just looking here. Hoops Hype posted an article in 2021, December, with team valuations. They had the Portland Trailblazers ranked 14th in the league in valuation. 2020, the valuation is 1.91 billion, and 2021, 2.07 billion. So his offer is pretty close to that. I definitely think he's got a good shot here. I think everybody knows, but I'm just going to ask you, Calvin. You know the most valuable franchise?
Oh, it's the Knicks.
And any guess on their valuation?
Did they crack $5 billion yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
They cracked $5 billion in 2020.
Okay. So is it over 6 now? Or are they still
6.12
God, that's crazy.
$billion. And guess who comes in at number 2?
The Lakers.
That would be the Golden State Warriors.
Ooh. Officially.
They passed the Lakers in 2020. They're $6.03 billion. I'm sure some of this has to do with their success and their image and their new arena. Lakers come in number 3 on this list, $5.63 billion. Just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. LeBron's, got some room to make some more money here. Let's see what the Cavaliers are on this list. You know the least valuable franchise in the NBA?
That's tough.
They made the playoffs this year.
They did. I don't know. I want to say Charlotte, but
Charlotte's number 28. Or no, sorry, Charlotte is actually number 27.
New Orleans.
There
it is.
1.51 billion. Crazy. Yeah, I mean, you look at the list here, you got the Pelicans, the Grizzlies, the Timberwolves. They all made the playoffs this year. They're the 3 least valuable franchises. Cleveland's coming in here at guess what number? 23.
Oh, wow.
$1.75 billion. Wow.
Jump change, yep.
That's crazy. Any guess where the Kings are on this list?
27th.
They're 15.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're in California. They're in the capital of California. They have a brand new arena. $2 billion.
$2 billion for the Kings.
Yeah.
Man.
That means I'm only $3 billion short from buying them because, if I make $2 billion, I got to pay some taxes. So
Yeah.
I think I need $3 billion or even more. That's absolutely crazy. Ethan wants to know about Orlando. What is Orlando? I saw them here on the list.
Thanks, man.
I'll just
Actually,
read.
those were pretty good guesses. Except for the Kings. I never would have guessed they
Top
were
10,
half.
Knicks, Warriors, Lakers,
the league.
Nets, Bulls, Celtics, Clippers, Rockets, Raptors, Mavericks. Where is Orlando on this list? Orlando, number 25, $1.69 billion. That's a little bit more in my price range. Yeah, we're just two crazy fans of the Kings. That's for sure. But it's okay. We're young. We're still making moves. We'll make something work. How many subscribers do we need on this channel to make $1 billion or $2 billion?
I don't know. I don't know how you calculate that.
Oh, man. That's funny. All right. Shout out to Matthew here for wrapping the intro. Let's talk about the Knicks here. You have some news?
Yeah, it was announced that the Knicks are going to hire Rick Brunson, who, if you don't know who Rick Brunson is, he's a former player. He's also Jalen Brunson's dad.
What?
They're going to hire him as an assistant coach. Just so happens that Jalen Brunson is also a free agent this offseason. Do you think there's any correlation there? The Knicks also need a point guard.
We've seen the Knicks trade and try and sign people in the past to draw free agents because they've had a tough time drawing free agents to their franchise. The bigger question for me is, does Jalen Brunson help this team? Does he fit in on this team?
The Knicks?
Yeah.
Well, they definitely have a lot of work to do, but yeah, I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't fit. They need a point guard. Who doesn't want to play at Madison Square Garden? Steph Curry said that over and over again.
Yeah, he did.
Thought he was going to New York.
I remember watching that draft.
Pay him a bunch of money, and you get your dad as an assistant coach. That's the thing to me. I don't know how much that actually matters to him, right? Like,
yeah, it's.
I know that him and his dad are close. They have a very close relationship. So,
does having your dad there help your case or does it hurt your case?
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting. All right. Any last thoughts on today's game before we wrap up the show here or before we dive into Q&A?
I'm just happy that it's finally here. We finally get to watch game one of the finals. It should be a great game. I'm hoping for a really closely contested series. There's been a ton of blowouts in these playoffs. I don't want to see any of that stuff here in the finals.
Yeah, the finals are finally here. Hopefully you guys are off later today. The game tips off here in about 2 hours. So make sure you're available to watch that. It's going to be an exciting series. Calvin's still taking the Celtics to win the series. I got the Warriors, but I think we both agree Warriors are winning game one tonight.
Yeah, I'll take the Warriors to win this game. I'll take the Celtics to rebound and win in game two.
First points tonight?
Klay
Thompson.
Thompson.
You heard it here first. All right, let's open it up to Q&A. I know we've been answering everybody's questions throughout the show, but if you guys have any last questions before we wrap up the show, drop them in the chat, and we'd be happy to answer them. To anyone that missed our show yesterday, we gave some updates on what we plan on doing here at Basketball at the Bar over the next couple weeks. We're going to still be here live Monday through Friday for all of next week and potentially the week after that, depending on how far the finals extend. Then after that, we're going to be cutting down our schedule a little bit as far as live streams every single day. We're going to still be putting out a ton of hot content, so make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you'll know every time we put out a new video. But we're doing rebuilds for all 30 teams in the NBA, including the team that wins the championship this season. We're going to talk about that team and what they can do to potentially repeat next year. If you checked out our channel earlier this morning, you saw that we posted 4 different team rebuilds from the 4 teams at the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings. We're going to do that for all the teams this offseason. We're going to have a ton of draft coverage. We're going to cover free agency. We're going to be doing some NBA 2K rebuilds and just other fun basketball things. Calvin loves to watch game footage, so maybe he'll break down some top plays or top stuff from last season. If you guys have any ideas, anything that you want to see, let us know in the chat or down below in the comments, because we're here for you guys. We're going to continue to grow this channel, make it bigger. Hopefully we'll be able to buy a team here pretty soon. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. And please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share this channel with all your favorite basketball fans. Any questions I missed here in the chat, Cal, that you saw?
I don't think so.
You think LeBron can buy the Cavs? I mean, he said he's going to buy a team. So, what would your money be on?
Which team he buys?
I never thought D-Wade would be a
tough.
partial owner of the Jazz.
I know, right? It seems to me like when you get to the point where that's actually a realistic possibility, you have to remove your your homer cap, Yeah. I'm sure he would love to own the Cavs, but it may not be the most realistic scenario. Jordan probably never well, I guess he grew up in North Carolina.
He wanted Charlotte.
Yeah, he wanted Charlotte, and he got lucky maybe that they were a poor team for so long. But I don't know. Ethan could be right. Maybe he ends up buying a team that's not an NBA team first. We already know he's a part owner in soccer, and
maybe he goes to Cleveland.
I'm not really sure.
Requests everyone to get traded for old veterans, and then when the team sucks
the
again,
value of the team,
he buys them.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that all NBA franchises are going up, even the bad teams, because the league is just taking the bottom with them. So
he just needs his value to go up faster than the franchise value, right? Key Kings has got a good question here. Thoughts on Gary Payton's impact tonight for the Golden State Warriors?
Well, has it officially been announced that he's playing tonight? Which is very possible. Since we've been on the air here, I haven't looked at any updates. But the last thing I saw, it wasn't looking, it certainly wasn't 100% that he was playing. But if he does, wow, he is apparently. So if he does, I think he's going to have a big impact for sure. Not necessarily he's going to score 14 points or whatever, but the dude is a phenomenal rebounder for a guy his size, and this gives them a really we saw him start at times just because he was a great defensive matchup for them. I don't think he cracks the starting lineup tonight, but having him available to throw out there, even though he's severely undersized against somebody like Jason Tatum, just the physicality, his ability to guard for the full 94 feet, put a lot of pressure on guys, starting the opponent's possession late in the shot clock. So if he's on Marcus Smart or somebody like that, I could see him eating up the bench. If Peyton Pritchard is out there, that's definitely not a good matchup for Boston. So he will definitely have a big impact, because even though he was hurt, he has the ability with his defensive skills to affect the game, when even his shot might be off or something because of the injury. Yeah.
I saw the report that he is dressing for the game to play, but we don't know how much he's actually going to play. He may be in shape. Having an elbow injury definitely, I guess, helps with your conditioning in the terms of you can still run and do stuff like that. But is he going to be in basketball shape or NBA shape? I'm not quite sure. When your main attribute that you bring to a team is your defensive versatility and defensive ability, that kind of leans on your conditioning, right? Because you need to be able to stay in front of your guy. I do think that this does help the Warriors in terms of having some more guys that they can throw on Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Marcus Smart to help slow them down. I'm not expecting a huge game out of Gary Payton tonight, but if he is able to play some meaningful minutes in this game, I think it means good things for him and the Warriors in the next few games. I think his impact tonight will be quite minimal. However, like I said, if he has a good showing, if he feels good, if he comes out of this game healthy, I think he could have a good impact on game 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Otto Porter Jr. makes the biggest difference out of all three of those guys for the Warriors.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Iguodala?
Yeah. Well, Iguodala, I don't foresee playing a ton of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't. Even if he was 100% healthy, I'm sure they would and will still use him. But Porter Jr., the fact that the Celtics have a size advantage, this gives them another front court guy that they trust, good rebounder for his size, capable defender, can hit the outside shot. That just adds another wrinkle to what Golden State can do, both offensively and defensively.
Agreed. Matthew says, I wish 2K would have pics of random people for new rookies. They all look like generic, bad CG people, so long rebuilds are not near as exciting as real draft. Matthew, you can actually download draft classes in 2K. If somebody's created one, you want to make sure that you are finding draft classes that are all created by the same person so you don't have players overlapping years. But Calvin and I have done 2K rebuilds 5, 6, 7 years in advance, and we've downloaded draft class over and over and over again from those years. So, like, I was drafting Michael Porter Jr. 5 years ago or longer in 2K. And you can actually make your own draft class as well, including yourself as a player. So there is really a lot of things that you can do in NBA 2K, but it does take time. And, create some of your own draft classes. You can also download classic draft classes. So, like, if we're rebuilding the Kings and we're in, like, 2027, we can literally download the draft class for 03 and draft LeBron James the next season, or Shaq, or some of these classic old draft classes. So there's definitely a lot of things that you can do for sure. What's good, Progressive G? Good to see you. Yeah, you enjoyed yesterday's show. We broke down kind of the off season for 4 different teams, and we're going to continue to do that because that's fun for us. So if there's any teams that you'd like us to cover, in the next couple shows, let us know. Otherwise, we're just going to kind of take it one at a time from the bottom of the standings up. And
started from the bottom.
Yeah.
Now we're here.
We also talked about a potential Rudy Gobert trade to the Raptors. So if you guys have
Don't do it, Toronto.
If you guys have any rumors or any things like that you want us to discuss, drop it down below in the comments, and we'll put it on the schedule for the next show. And, we love talking about stuff like that. Progressive G says, my MVP pick for the series is Tatum. Assist leader Curry. Most surprising player Horford. What about rebounds? Did you see our rebounds? I want to know your thoughts on most total rebounds for the series, because that's tough. That is really tough. Because rebounding is like
tough.
You got to be in the right position, and then it's like whether your team shoots bad or the other team shoots bad, it makes more rebounding opportunities for you if you're a good offensive rebounder or you're a better defensive rebounder, stuff like that. Williams for rebound. Not a bad pick. Not a bad pick at all.
Horford's the better rebounder on the team, though, Ethan.
Yeah. Yeah, Calvin's got Looney as well. I have Horford.
Yep.
All right, guys, I think we are going to wrap up the show. Thank you all so much for joining us. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. We will be back tomorrow to break down this exciting finals game today. Calvin, any last thoughts before we end the show?
He ain't playing like an old man right now, that's for sure. No, have fun watching the game. I know I will.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you all spending an hour of your day or even less with us. So thank you guys. We will see you all tomorrow. And in the meantime, don't forget to tip your bartender.